Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Beyond the Gatekeepers. I am Bishop Vanessa Brown. Very happy to be back with you here tonight. I know that we were gone for the last 2 weeks and we're going to settle our summer. And this is probably going to be our last episode for the summer. We're going to start showing repeats. But I want to welcome you here again to Beyond the Gatekeepers. So happy to have you on Facebook, Instagram, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. All of my people, we say welcome, welcome, welcome to you. I'm asking that you do us a great big favor and start sharing, letting folks know that we have an incredible conversation in store for you tonight. And so we welcome you here. We are grateful for your presence. I want to make sure that I shout folks out. So make sure you start getting ready for that so that we can shout you out once we know that you are in the room. So we want to make sure we're starting to get folks in the room. We want to get you in the room. We're excited about our guest on tonight. Grateful for his presence, his work, that he's done over the years. I'm not going to announce them just yet, but hopefully you've been following us, and so you know that we got something good coming your way. And I know that you all are probably saying, where is Bishop Brown with all of this darkness behind her? So I am in Litchfield, Connecticut. Litchfield, Connecticut. I'm here with the Southern New England Conference of the United Church of Christ, and they are having a preaching camp this week. And so I am one of the workshop presenters for the preaching camp. And so I'm excited to be here with them as well. And I hope that you are too. I see people are coming in, and I want to make sure that you all do me a favor. Again, make sure that you are sharing, that we are on, we are on, we are on, we are on. I see people making comments. We are so happy always to be here with you and in your presence. And so let me start shouting you out. Let me see who we have here. We have Brother Albert Reed. Let me tell you something about Albert. Albert is faithful. If Albert don't see us, he'll be like, Bishop, you're not having Beyond the Gatekeepers tonight. He will inbox me and he will let me know, okay? And if I say, oh, we have something else to do, so I'll understand. But I know that he is disappointed. But tonight we're back, Albert, from Colleen, Texas, a musician extraordinaire. And this is a great, 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 great time for you to be with us. My partner is on. Pastor Tanya D. Jackson is in the house. Newark, Delaware is here. Pastor Hulon Mike Willis, God bless you. We love you. Glad that you're here. St. Louis is in the house. Reverend Dr. Hood and Holy. I know who this is. That's Reverend Dr. Marilyn Banks Pagan. Thank you for being on. Pastor Karen Coleman is here from Boston, Massachusetts. Dear brother Chuck Jones is on. God bless you. Palm Springs, California. Paris LaBelle, Bishop Paris LaBelle is on here with us from the Carolinas. I love when she said it, the Carolinas. And Pastor Reverend Dr. Charles L.A. Waterston, Washington is on, and he is representing Delaware, Ohio, and Brooklyn. Minister David Tony, who is our minister of music for our church, he is on. God bless you, Minister David, representing New York and New Jersey. Sister Tanya Lorraine is on. Atlanta, and Rem is in the house. We're so happy that you're here on tonight. And I see y'all. Y'all do me a favor. Y'all make sure y'all share and let somebody know that we are on. And we are on with a great man of God who I know he's a humanist, but I'm going to say what I want to say about him. And he don't mind. Amen. I have fallen in love with this man and his work and the things that he is representing, he's doing. I see you, Minister Renee. God bless you. Minister Renee Weaver, UFC Columbia and Baltimore. God bless you. Donald Peoples, Jamaica, Queens. God bless you. Thank you for being on. He's doing great work, has been doing great work for many, many years. And his work speaks for him. His books, the way in which he moves through the earth. Dr. Anthony B. Pinn is the Agnes Cullen Arnold Distinguished Professor of Humanities and Professor of Religion at Rice University. He is the author of several books. You have seen him on Beyond the Gatekeepers before with some of those books. He has this book out that I think it's been out for about a year or so. And it is called My Jams, Reflections on the Relationship Between Music and Religion. And I'm going to tell you, I love it so much. Please let us receive Dr. Anthony B. Pinn.
Bishop,
how you doing,
wonderful
sir?
to be with you again.
It's always great to be here with you all. I know that we were expecting to see Bishop Flunder tonight, but again, she begs her pardon tonight and says that, she will see you again really, really soon. So I wanted to get into the conversation. So I said, I'm not giving up this date. I'm not giving it up because I love this conversation around music and religion. And so I guess and just looking through the book, looking at the chapters, you talk about the sound of being. right? And rap music and social transformation. I mean, you go through it all, right? The blues and identity. Like you are really relating. Like I feel like you got your whole childhood and your whole life. The soundtrack of your life is here in this book, right? What humanists might learn from hip hop, Zombies in the Hood, the realism of Kendrick Lamar. I just want to break it down for the audience. Theologizing, rhythm, conversion and hip hop, theology, popular culture and religion, the lyrics of angels and demons, Tupac Shakur's life and death in music, the divine status in hip hop, artists deified, hip hop culture is global, hip hop culture is local. And Dr. Pinn, you are really putting it down. I want to give people the opportunity to know that they can first purchase the book, right? And Pastor Sue is going to put that inside the chat and everywhere, so you'll be able to see where you can get the book. And then also, Pastor Sue is we're going to give away a book tonight, courtesy of Dr. Pinn. So if you put hashtag Beyond the Gatekeepers in, then you will be able to get a book. So I wanted to make sure that I say that, right? But Dr. Pinn, I want you to first greet our audience, right? And then I want to ask you some very serious questions that I've thought about, and I've even tried the questions on other people and they can't answer. So I know you'll be able to answer.
Well, good evening, fam. It's wonderful to be with you. I'm looking forward to your comments and your questions. Always a delight to chop it up with you.
Awesome. I love that. And so I want to ask you these questions, and I specifically around this book, because you have the inspiration for my workshop on this week is because of your book, right? It's the inspiration and it's something I've been saying, but I just didn't put it down in the book, right? You put it down in the book. I'm a kid of hip hop.
Yeah.
I worked for the Apollo for 15 years, but I grew up on hip hop. I grew up on my Adidas, walking into Fifth Street, right? That was my life. I grew up, you know what I mean? I'm not from Queens, but I grew up in Harlem. And so, hip hop is a very big thing. The Sugar Hill Gang, the building I grew up in, not Curtis Blow, but people that were in the Sugar Hill Gang lived in the building directly next door to where we lived. So they were always having something in front of that building, always loud music, loud speakers, and so that became my cultural awareness of what hip hop was really all about. I mean, like I had that rapper's delight, down to the T, every lyric, right? I thought even one time in my life, Dr. Pinn, I was going to be a rapper.
Look out.
I thought I went to school with the Jungle Brothers and the Tribe Called Quest. We graduated from high school together, Mary Bertram High School. But during that time, they were not a rap group. They were trying to put together the rap group, and they were looking for a girl. But I was too saved to do it because the church told me I wasn't supposed to be doing that. And so they found somebody else to work with them or whatever have you. But I remember that time and them desperately trying to say, Nessa, you could do this. Come on. We want you to rap. We want you to rap. But I was so afraid because of religion and because I thought I was going to go to hell if I did that. So I didn't do it. And they went on to be stars, right? The Tribe Called Quest, we all know who they are. The Jungle Brothers, right? Our House You, we know who they are, right? So I want to talk to you about this music. And you have written extensively about religion, humanism in particular, Black thought. Why did you feel compelled to write My Jams? And what does music reveal about the human condition?
I mean, that is a fantastic question. And for me, it's both personal and professional. Personally, music mapped out my life. There isn't a major moment in my development that doesn't have a soundtrack. That when I didn't have the capacity to really speak my mind, that I didn't have the tools to describe my world and what it meant to be a Black man in my world, music did it for me.
Yeah.
Right? It kind of explained and explored the world in ways that were compelling to me. It had a poetic quality that spoke to not only how I thought, but how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, professionally, as someone who is deeply committed to the study of religion, there are ways in which our understanding of what it means to be Black and religious has a soundtrack. Now, this makes sense for folks for whom the written word was not the first mode of conversation, right? You're
That's
talking about
right.
Black folks who were not given access to the written word. But we
Yes.
use music as a way to explore and explain who we were, what we were, when we were, and why we were. And so there's something about our religious development that I think is best understood through musical production.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Really quickly, I see you, Elliot Morris from Chicago, Gloria Mason from Texas. Welcome to you, Chuck Hunt from Monroe, Louisiana. That is real. The other piece of my question is, what does music reveal about the human condition that theology and philosophy alone cannot?
Yeah, I think what music offers us is a way to get at not only what we think about the human condition, but how we feel about it. And it frees language to tell different stories. It has a kind of poetic quality. And by that, I mean that music destroys language in order to free it to tell a different story.
Yes.
It detangles language from traditional Western European understandings and frees it to tell our story from the margin. I think there are also ways in which music appreciates that something about what it means for us to be and to be in our circumstances involves sound. Not necessarily words, but sounds. There is something about sound that tells us something about ourselves, and theology and literature and philosophy have a difficult time getting at that because they are bound to the written word when music is a freer form of expression.
So this personal question, because I hear the passion in you, even around this music, and that's real, right? So the question is, the soundtrack of your life, if you had to choose a song, words or without words, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I know you like a bunch of music.
Just one song.
Just one. Maybe two. Give me two.
I think one of the songs that captures the ebb and flow of my life, the hard times, the good times, is Nina Simone. Feeling Good.
Yes. Yes. I love that song.
For me captures it.
Mm-hmm. You know how I feel.
Yeah.
It's a new dawn. It's a new day, and I'm feeling good.
It connects us with the world in a very different way.
Yeah.
Right? That we are people who for centuries were appreciated and understood in opposition to the world. That is to say, we were understood and appreciated to the degree we could farm, we could build, we could produce, we could change the world. Right? But there were things about that song by Nina Simone that speaks a very different relationship to the world. The birds understand what we understand. They move in a way that makes sense to us. It connects us to life in much grander and much bigger terms. And for me, that is just deeply compelling. Another song that speaks the world to me in a way I have to say amen to is The Message. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five.
Don't push me, cause I'm close to the
edge.
I'm trying not to lose my head. That's my people.
It's
Yes.
like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder
It
how
makes
I
me
keep
wonder
from
how I
going
keep
under.
from going under. So listen, if you grew up in any kind of concrete jungle, then we
Yeah.
understand exactly what he's saying,
And what does it
right?
say? It says, despite everything,
Yeah,
we keep it moving. Despite
yeah,
everything, we survive. Despite everything, we remain important.
yes, yeah,
How
yeah.
could I not
And
love that?
listen, I think and I'm glad that you mentioned that song because even that song speaks to what's going on today.
Mm-hmm.
People are close to the edge.
Yeah.
Right? What's going on in society, what's going on in government, in politics and policy. People are close to the edge, right? That's a message for somebody, right? And it's a positive message. It's an inspirational message, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
message that can actually, I think, pull somebody, you know what I mean, back to themselves, before they fall off that cliff.
And another song, and folks listening into our conversation might be surprised by this. It's a gospel song, and one of my favorite
Mm,
artists is Andre Crouch. And this
yes.
song is Hollywood Scene.
Prolific writer.
I just think there was something musically compelling about Hollywood Scene.
Yes.
And it speaks a kind of message that is in the world, but distinct, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Andre Crouch, you get a sense that you can maintain your moral and ethical vision and still understand what it means to live in the context of this secular world.
Yes. Absolutely.
That spoke to me as a teenager, and it speaks to me as a senior.
And I think, Dr. Penn, just that song in particular, when we think about it being written by Andre Crouch, whom we know is a prolific writer, I think that is exactly what he was doing, right? That was exactly. Obviously, I think that Andre was before his time,
Mm-hmm.
right? With a lot of his music, right? And so I think that he was also trying to say something, right, that the church needed to hear, right? Because I'm going to get to this whole secular versus sacred piece, but
Mm-hmm.
he was actually trying to. We do a good job at trying to keep things separate. He was doing a good job at trying to homogenize it.
Sure enough, right? I mean, we get stuck on this in the world, but not of it. And I hear Andre Crouch saying, I'm in the world and transforming it.
Yes, love
That's a
that.
different thing.
That's a different thing. You can be in it and transform it, right? That was the thing when you say you guys we get stuck on. I'm glad that you said that, made that, and I'm gonna go on to the next question. But so my debate or that piece of me that didn't rap and that piece of me that left the Apollo Theater was because all of the messages kept saying you got to be in the world but not of the world, and I didn't know that I could be in the world and transform it, right? I don't know that I knew it like that, right? I was
Mm-hmm.
relatively young, so I don't think that I understood it, right? And so the way that I understood it was that there was fear, and I needed to get away from it.
Yeah. I think there's something important that we miss. Whether folks believe in God or not, we ought to be uncomfortable in our social world. Why? Because it is so deeply committed to injustice and trauma. Whether you believe
Yes,
in God or not, you ought to be uncomfortable in this world because this
yes.
world is not about the safeguarding of life. The question becomes, what do we do about it? Do we
What do we
run
do
from it
about it?
or do we try to
Yes.
change it?
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Quickly, I see Bishop Levi Richards. Happy birthday, Dad. I'm glad you're on. I see Hollow Rain. Thank you for being on. God bless you. I see Bishop Sonia E. Williams on from RIM. Thank you for being on tonight. We appreciate your presence. And I see Dr. Jamie Edie. God bless you. I'm glad that you are on. So this next question, Dr. Penn, um, as someone who comes from a preaching tradition, and I know your mom was a preacher. I
Mm-hmm.
remember that from our last conversations, right? I'm fascinated, and I don't believe it's a possibility. I know that it's a fact that music itself can function as proclamation.
Oh, sure.
So in your thought process, can songs preach, and can artists serve prophetic roles even when they reject traditional religious frameworks? I already know what you're going to say, but I want you to say more about
I think most definitely,
Yeah.
that I think music at its best helps us come to grips with the challenges we face and gives us creative and imaginative ways to move beyond them.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that preached moment at its best acknowledges where we are in the world, what we face in the world, and gives us ways to get beyond that.
Yeah.
And so it seems to me both the traditional preached moment and music involve a kind of poetic quality of expression, a kind of creativity and imagination that pulls us beyond ourselves. So sure enough, no doubt.
Yeah. And so this lead me to this question. You talk a lot about Kendrick Lamar, whom I love. You have particular attention to him, and I want to know what makes him such an important figure for understanding religion, morality, and Black life.
Yeah. And one of the things I find compelling about Kendrick Lamar is he looks at the world, describes it without flinching.
Yeah.
And Kendrick Lamar doesn't give us easy answers.
No, he doesn't.
He's not just going to throw some cliches at you and keep it rolling, right? That
Right.
he forces us to wrestle with circumstances, to linger over the trauma that is Black life.
Yes.
And for me, that is compelling. There is just this kind of depth of understanding and depth of expression within his work that just works for me.
Do you consider him a prophetic voice for this generation?
I think there is something about what he delivers that can be understood as prophetic, and understood as prophetic in this way, that he stands within the context of a culture and calls it to account.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Him and a lot of artists, right?
Oh, yeah.
He is not by himself when he's out there saying he's one of the few, though, right? It's not many, but he's absolutely one of the few. Even when I think about NDRE, right? You know what I mean? When she's talking about Black life, right? I am not my hair, or when she's talking about brown skin, or, all of the things, right? Also, I consider it to be prophetic for this generation. Now, we're talking, but I didn't directly ask you this question around sacred and secular. So most of Black church life, in my opinion, has historically, I think, drawn hard lines between the sacred and the secular, right? I know that I grew up with that, right? It just had to be separate, right? Yet, Black communities have often found meaning and liberation through blues, right? Through jazz, through soul, through hip hop. So, have we misunderstood the relationship between the sacred and the secular?
I think we've made too much of the distinction. And I think we've done that in part because it's easy.
Yeah.
But these boundaries are flexible. They're fluid. We're constantly moving between those. I'll give you an example. You don't have gospel music without the blues.
That's correct.
So how can we make a hard and forever distinction between what we call sacred and what we call secular when you can't have gospel without the blues?
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things I'm going to say in this workshop that I'm doing is I give examples of songs. And one of the songs I give is Like a Bridge Over Troubled Water. Right? That is not a gospel song. Gospel people sing it, but it is not a gospel song. And part of it is like, it's about, laying down your life, right? Laying down your life for someone else, right? being your brother's keeper, so many of those things about helping people, right? But it is not a gospel song, but it is a song that a message can come from.
Sure enough.
Right.
Sure enough. And I think one way I like to think about it is like this. I think for folks in the church, for example, there's a tendency to think in terms of vertical relationships, the human in relationship to something that is transhistorical. Yeah.
Yes.
God. And they think in terms of the secular as horizontal. Humans in relationship to the material world. And what we forget is there is a point at which those two intersect.
Yes. Yes.
And it's that point of intersection we ought to be giving more attention to.
So you talk about angels and demons. Say a little bit more about that.
I think for me, there are ways in which much of Black thought, whether it's in or outside of the church, has traded on metaphors, signs, and symbols. And so for my mind, talk of angels and demons, for example, become ways to hold for our view and our attention moral and ethical concerns that trouble us. Right? That talk of angels and devils gives us a way to capture in our limited language things we most appreciate about ourselves and life, and things that trouble us most about ourselves and life.
Yeah, I like that.
But we have to look at these signs and symbols and ask ourselves, what do these say about us?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Dr. J.B. Edie said, I said that Like a Bridge Over Troubled Water is not a gospel song. And she said, maybe we need to reimagine gospel. Some hip hop is gospel too. Well, interestingly enough, I've been going to Berlin for the last 3 or 4 years. And Like a Bridge Over Troubled Water is one of the songs that I sing in a service, you know what I mean, that is packed full of German people that speak English. And, that's a song that they know, that they sing with me. And it's like a gospel song, like you can feel the spirit rising and moving, right, when that song is sung. So absolutely, Dr. Edie. Lisa McCauley, God bless you. Thank you for being on. Dinah Chapman, thank you for being on. We see you here. And there was one more person. Lavinia Bean, thank you for being on tonight. We appreciate you. Dr. Pinn, you are what I consider to be, and who I consider to be, one of the foremost voices in African-American humanism. I really don't know anybody else. I'm sure you got other people, but you're the person that sticks out to me the most, right? So how does music provide meaning and hope and even transcendence without necessarily relying upon traditional notions of God?
Yeah. For me, what becomes most important about music is the questions it forces us to wrestle with.
Yeah.
That is vital. It forces us to wrestle with questions. It forces us to recognize where we are, who we are, what we are, when we are, and what we want to be. It wrestles with those in a way that is poetic, that is compelling, that is emotional and insightful. And in forcing us to wrestle with these questions, it allows us to get a better sense of who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that, because that's one of the questions you asked me before the show.
Yeah.
Like, are you getting the students to think?
Yeah, that's vital.
I think that that's vital. It's so important that we get people to think. And I think that there's a lot of artists who have come who we groove into the beat, but they're actually getting us to think. I think Marvin Gaye was one of those people.
Yes.
When he asks what's going on.
What's going on?
Right. And he goes through the whole thing, right? We can sing that song today, you know what I mean, right now, and it's applicable to the state of the world, right? You give me big Tupac energy. You give me big Tupac energy. Tupac has enduring power. I don't care what anybody says, right? 25 years after this man's death, he is continuing to shape conversations around suffering, justice, masculinity, and hope. All you got to do is turn on your Instagram, these podcasts that come on, and people are talking about Tupac everywhere, right? What do you think explains his almost, I'm going to say this, almost canonical status in Black culture?
Yeah. One,
right? He's
charisma.
A saint to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
on one level, just a charisma and a presence that was powerful. But I think there's also something about his music. And I think folks in Black churches ought to pay attention to him because he raises some really interesting questions. Take his thinking on Jesus, for example. Now, we all talk about Jesus hanging out with the marginalized and despised.
Yeah.
But Tupac digs into that, right? So what does it mean for us? What can we say about Jesus when Jesus hung out with the despised and the marginalized, right? And so Tupac is forcing us to rethink how we understand and embrace the folks that Jesus hung out with, right? So Tupac says Black Jesus is the patron saint of thugs, that Jesus understands what life has offered us and what we've tried to do with those limited resources. Right. So it raises a fundamental question that I think is a good question for folks in Black churches. Who is Jesus to us? And who does Jesus encourage us to love?
And I think that people forget about who Tupac was.
Yeah.
Who his family was. He came from the house of Black Panthers.
Yes.
He understood, at a very young age, about Black power, right? About Black culture, right? He understood the impoverishment of Black communities because he was out there with his parents, walking around. He understood. He was very smart, very intelligent young man, unfortunately he is not here.
Yeah.
But his music is what still lives on, right? Like so many of the other artists, right?
Yeah.
And there was something that you said. What did you say? Okay, I'm going to give an opportunity for people to ask questions. So if you have a question for Dr. Pinn, I want you to put the word question and then ask, right? Yes, Dr. Jamie, we prefer a more sanitized conversation about Jesus because we do. But the fact of the matter is that that's not, if this is a man that hung out with tax collectors and sinners, then he obviously would understand the gangbanger. He obviously would understand, the thug, quote unquote, right? He would understand all of these things. So historically, Dr. Pinn, theology has been produced in seminaries and churches. We know this, right? Yet much of Black meaning making happens in barbershops, right? Beauty salons, clubs, through playlists, right? So my question is, has popular culture become one of the primary sites where theology is now being constructed?
I think it has always been, right? If you think of the number of hours in a week and how many of those hours are spent in formal relationship to churches, we're doing most of our living and our thinking outside of the context of that formal institution. But it would be a mistake to say we're not thinking theologically until we get to church.
Yeah.
That we have always developed alternate spaces to think these deep thoughts. We have always generated alternate spaces to wrestle with the fundamental questions of our existence. Who are we? What are we? When are we? Why are we?
Yes.
We get some sense of this in literature. Think in terms of Baby Suge Holy.
Yes.
She takes them to the woods, and it's in the woods where she tells them, you got to love your hands. Yeah.
That's it. Yes.
Think about the hush arbor meetings that Black folks developed a sense of who they were in relationship to what mattered most to them in the world. outside of formal church settings. It was in the context of community. That's all that mattered.
Yeah.
And you form those communities wherever you form those communities. But we have
Yes.
always thought theologically in and outside of these formal religious structures. That's just who we are as a people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So hip hop and Black religion, let's talk a little bit more about that. Some critics argue that hip hop represents a decline in moral and spiritual values. We've seen this all along. There was a whole campaign about hip hop and all of this stuff, while others see it as a continuation of Black religious creativity. Where do you locate hip hop? I think I know this answer already. Within the broader story of Black religious traditions.
I think hip hop, like all of our cultural production, shows us at our best and at our worst.
Indeed.
And I think about hip hop artists this way. They labor in the gardens that we have provided them.
Come on.
So I have a hard time pointing my finger at hip hop and saying it is the problem.
Yeah.
It's dealing with the world that we have given it.
Yeah.
And so again, it points out our best and our worst. I think one of the things that troubles us is that hip hop often forces us to wrestle with our moral and ethical assumptions. I'll give you a prime example. Think in terms of Salt and Pepper, and they're rethinking of Black sexuality.
Yes.
Right? A kind of ownership of sexuality. This is something that Black religious organizations have been deeply troubled by and uncomfortable talking about. I tell you, when I grew up in the church, what they told us was, don't do anything you wouldn't want to do knowing Jesus is in the room.
Yes, I've heard that too.
What education is that?
Exactly.
Right? But there was no sense that these urges and desires were natural and beautiful. There was no appreciation for who we were as embodied and material beings in the world. And so hip hop, it seems to me, is forcing us to recognize some of our problematic assumptions and encouraging us to do better.
Yeah, I hear that. I can hear that. So I wanted to go back to this, and I want to ask this question about soundtracks and identity. Earth, Wind, and Fire is a group that I grew up on. My siblings are 10 and 15 years older than me, right? So I grew up with bands. Obviously, I grew up in a generation with my mom where she listened to 60s and 70s music. So I know all about Al Green, Aretha Franklin, James Brown, and all that stuff. But Earth, Wind, and Fire, I watched the documentary that Black Thought and the rest of the crew produced, right?
It's on my list.
Questlove. You got to watch it. But one of the things I want to mention, and I don't want to give away since you haven't seen it, is the fact that Maurice was the organizer of the group. He was the leader of the group. He was also a metaphysicist. And a lot of people don't know that. And so I want y'all to go watch Earth, Wind, and Fire so that you all can hear how some of this music came to be out of metaphysical thought.
Yeah.
Right.
All you have to do is listen to the music, and there's a deeply spiritual quality to what they're saying.
Yes.
Right? They have an expansive sense of life, an expansive sense of our relationship to life. All you have to do is listen to the music. And then you get a group like Parliament and the Funkadelics who are creating
come on.
worlds.
Listen, I did concerts with them. Listen, complete opposites. Funny thing about it is that you brought them up, and Earth, Wind, and Fire talks about them and how they were the opening act for George Clinton. And two different worlds, because they out there trying to tell people to meditate and get in touch with your inner being. And George Clinton is like, tear the roof off this motherfucker. You know what I mean? He up there like, we got a real type of thing going. And they all smoking, and getting high. You have to watch it. You have to watch that documentary. It's so good. It's so telling, right? And I brought it up because in my jams, you suggest that music helps us understand who we are, right? If our playlists are autobiographies, what does America's soundtrack tell us about the nation's soul, and more specifically, the soul of Black America?
I think the soundtrack for the United States in general would have to include Nina Simone's Mississippi Goddamn. It would have to include Billie Holiday's Strange Fruit.
Absolutely.
Right? It would have to highlight the way in which this nation has been preoccupied with Blackness in a way that both needed Blackness and sought to destroy Blackness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think in terms of Black folks, our people, I stick with Nina Simone to be young, gifted, and Black.
Well, I hear you. I hear you. People are asking me where to find it.
Think about Black National Anthem.
Yeah, lift every voice and sing.
These sorts of songs speak to our past, our present, and a determination to persist.
Yes. Yeah. People are asking me where to see the Earth, Wind, and Fire. I think it's Hulu. I'm pretty sure that it's Hulu. If it's not Hulu, it's Netflix. It's up there.
Yeah.
So you talked about the future of Black meaning making, because that's what we're doing, right? As younger generations increasingly identify as spiritual, but not religious, and you know this, we've talked about this before, or not religious at all, right? Where do you see meaning, ethics, and community being formed? And what role does music and culture play in shaping that future?
I think one of the things we're already seeing is that young folks think about community in very different ways, that for them, virtual community, online community is as real as a Sunday gathering.
Yeah.
It's just as real for them. And that they process their response to these fundamental questions of life. Who are we? What are we? When are we? Why are we? Publicly and online. They're also forcing us to rethink our use of language, right? Some of these young folks you're talking about will say that they are atheist and spiritual.
That's correct.
Now, as a baby boomer,
I've heard it.
What do you mean?
Right.
But for them, language has to be twisted and changed to fit their experience. They're not going to try to force their experience into this language thing.
Yeah.
And so I think for them, music still continues to play this role, but the type of music shifts and changes. How they access music shifts and changes. So for me, growing up, there was something tactile about music. There was something physical about it. It was
45s and albums. Absolutely.
Whole, right? You had to do something special with that album. 45s.
Yep.
8-tracks, CDs. There was something physical about it. And I think now that has become less common, that there is this physical dimension to engaging music.
Yes. Love that. We have a question from our audience, and then I'm going to ask you my last question. And remember, if you have a question for Dr. Pinn, I want you to write the word question first and then ask the question. So somebody asks, Minister Renee Weaver says, when did music become a form of separating races and cultures rather than celebrating them as it originally was created for?
I think it's hard to put a date on that.
Sure.
If you think in terms of Black musical expression, the co-opting of this music has always been the case, that the dominant population within the United States has always co-opted and made use of our cultural expression. It doesn't start with Elvis Presley.
That's right. We know that. They wanted to start with him, but we already know Rosetta Tharpe and all those people was doing it before them. He was taking their music, their moves, their songs, their guitar riffs, and all of that. And because he was a white man, like, he was able to do it. And there was a time when only white artists were played, and they got their music from Black artists. If you do your research, I'm not a musicologist, but if you do your research around music, you will see that, you will hear that, you will know that, right? I guess I have a closing question for you if no one else has any more. And I think I asked it first, but I'm going to ask it again in a different way because I think this is important. So if somebody wanted to understand Dr. Anthony Pinn, not through your CV, because we know it's quite extensive, not through your scholarship, because we also know that's amazing, but through your music, what 5 songs would you place on that playlist? And what story would those songs tell about your journey?
Okay, 5 songs.
5.
So I'd have to put on that playlist again, that Nina Simone jam.
Feeling Good.
Feeling Good. The Message would have to go on that.
That's 2.
Let's see. Earth, Wind, and Fire, Fantasy.
Yes.
I'd also have to put on that list. Let's see. Ooh, this is a hard one. Limited it to 5. I'd also have to put on that list Scarface, Mind Playing Tricks on Me.
Come on. Okay.
And then I think the last of these 5 would have to be Amazing Grace.
And tell me why did you choose Amazing Grace?
Because there's something
I'm actually using that in my thing on Friday too, just so you know.
I'm one who grew up on Saturday. When I heard the gospel music, I knew it was time to get up. We about to clean the house.
Yeah.
And one of the songs my mother would play was that song. And so there are ways in which that song connects me to the community that gave me life. It connects me to family. It connects me to those early years in Buffalo, New York. It connects me to the awkwardness of this kid trying to survive in a world that doesn't love him, right? So something about me is expressed in what that song meant in my family.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I was contemplating whether I was going to, it's there, but I was contemplating whether I was going to actually use the song. But I realized that I can just change the lyric. Right. And so that's what I did. I changed the lyric. That first, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I took wretch out and used soul that saved the soul like me.
There you go.
So that music. And so I wanted to say this because I am doing this thing around proclamation. I see you, Dr. Sekou, and congratulations on getting your PhD. Thank you for being on. We know Dr. Sekou, right?
Yes.
Doing social justice music and out there representing. I say that to say that I think it's very important that we start to see music. And this is I might get some pushback, but on the same level as preaching for those that do that, right? That we have this way of categorizing music and putting one above the other. But I believe that proclamation can come through music, right? I believe that the things that people are experiencing in church when it comes just to the preach word, that it has to take on new meaning. It has to, there's something that has to change about that. But I think when we have music, because music is universal, I know this, from traveling the world, right? That you could sing a song. I mean, I was in South Africa and there was 3,000 people in the room, and Bishop Flunder was about to get up and preach, and Bishop Pearson was there as well, and they were up, but there was a song that rose up from their tongue, and we were all sitting at the table, but that thing had us going. We didn't know what they were saying, but we could tell you that the Spirit was moving, because they did not sing that song in English. They sang it in their native tongue. They sang, and we were all moving and moved by that music, and we did not understand one word of what they were saying. Not one word, but it was the way that it was done. And 3,000 people, and we felt the wave of the Spirit. And we're talking about people that are not just practicing Christianity in that room. People who were humanists and people who were practicing metaphysics and practicing indigenous faith religion were all in that room. And we can feel a tangible move of Spirit moving that room.
Yeah.
So yes. Angie Kyrie her mom is a singer, and Angie is on right now, and her brother Isaac Kyrie sang with Minna Standard and sang with John P. Key. And Angie, you have a question, so tell me I'm waiting for you to give that question before we go to the next thing. But tell me your thoughts around that, what I just said around music and preaching being on the same level. What do you think?
I think that's absolutely right. That I think we are complex creatures. We touch the world and are touched by the world in complex ways. And we shouldn't assume that there's only one way to communicate meaning. There's only one way to express and explore the questions that matter most to us. We get at this through a variety of mechanisms. And so why shouldn't it be the preached word and the sung message? That makes perfect sense to me.
Thank you for that. So Angie's question is, she was raised in a very strict Christian Kojic household. We weren't allowed to listen to secular music. I finally got enough courage to ask why not. I was told it would cause us to backslide. My reply was, if a song makes you backslide, I question your salvation. Then it became, because I said so. Why does the church prohibit listening to it?
Because of this strict thinking on sacred and secular. And there's something about that strong, unpenetrable boundary that misrepresents our history. Again, you can't have gospel without the blues.
That's right. Or jazz.
There you go.
Yeah. Bishop Bird, who is a bishop in our fellowship, a pastor, but also a musician. He's an organist. He said this conversation is very eye-opening. I agree that music is proclamation and on expansive proclamation because music goes beyond words. And you talked about that. Like, not even, and I know that that's true. Sometimes I don't even have to hear a lyric.
No.
Sometimes I can just hear the instrumentation, various instruments. It could be the organ, but no sound. And it's not really a song that they're playing. It's just rhythms and things that move me, or the piano, or even a guitar. I mean, all kinds of instruments without music, it's like it's saying something. And maybe it's not saying the same thing to all of us, but there is something that's coming up out of that, whether it's to move me from a place of lowness in my spirit, depression, whether it's to continue to keep me elevated in a place of celebration, right? Whether it's around grief, music has a way of, words or not, of articulating to me and speaking back into my spirit, Thank you so much. So Dr. Edie said, how oppressive must it be to bend and shape yourself away from your own expansiveness? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen, go listen. This is one of the challenges I'm going to give before we give the announcements and go to the raffle for the book. So make sure you put hashtag Beyond the Gatekeepers, please. Everybody should be putting that in now so you can win a copy of my jams. But before you do that, I want to give announcements, and I want to just challenge people to start listening to other genres of music. Start listening to not just gospel. I mean, I know if you love gospel, that's great. But I went to an opera last Saturday, and it was about a young Leontine Price. And the girl that played Leontine Price is probably like 25 years old, but she was amazing. Guess what? I've known this kid since she was 6. Grew up in church. Her mom is a pastor. And she sings opera. She's amazing. Graduated from Morgan State. Has a master's degree in vocal performance and music. And she's been doing these Broadway these operas and arias all over the place. It was the most amazing thing. And this is not my first time at the opera, but she was amazing to know that she's 25 years old. And this is the path that she is taking and wants to do. Like, she can absolutely, Dr. Pinn, be our next Leontine Price. And I say that, but, even better than Leontine. Like, she's amazing. Right? I want to challenge people to start listening to other kinds of music, right? Whether it's opera, whether it's R&B, whether it's country, whether it's hip hop, whatever floats your boat, try, make an effort and see how that song speaks to you. What is the message that the song is trying to give you, right? And I'm going to honestly say this as a pastor in the Bishop in the Lord's church, that I can just go to folks' church and not have to hear preaching, period. And just listen to good music ministry. And I will walk out full and fed if it's good music ministry, And I know that might be a challenge for some people, but if they're listening carefully, there is proclamation in music. There's a message. Somebody gets up and preaches. People are only going to retain about 15 minutes of the 45 minutes you're up speaking. Right? But people will remember a through line to a song. They will remember a melody. Right? And that melody will be in their mind, that through line, that chorus of that song. Whatever song it might be, it's going to stay with them, right? Where can we purchase the book? It should be in your chat. It should be in your chat. Go down below and you should see Pastor Sue has placed where you can purchase the book in your chat. It could be, I know you can go directly, Dr. Pinn. He asks that you go to your local bookstore, but if not, Yale, right?
And I was thinking about a book that just came out. It's Fortress. If they go to the Fortress Press website.
Okay, so go to Fortress Press, y'all. Okay, I see Pastor Sue putting it again. You should see it everywhere, so you can go back and purchase that book. Okay, I see you all. Al Whitaker, thank you for being on tonight. Deacon Sugar Bear, thank you for being on. I see you all. Okay, and Pastor Dr. Dinah Chapman, thank you for being on as well. All right, we're going to get to our giveaway. We want you to put hashtag Beyond the Gatekeepers in so that you can win the book. Make sure you're putting that in. Now, but Pastor Sue, let me do the announcements first. I'm going to do the announcements first, and then we're going to go there. So we want you to support the broadcast. Send your donation in. PayPal, www.paypal.me/TFAMJustice. We appreciate you supporting us. This is how we work. We are going on vacation for the month of July and August. You all will see repeats for the next 2 months. However, we want you all to still stay tuned. The more you watch, that people will begin to see. I was on the train. I need to say this real quick. I was coming on New Jersey Transit 3 times, 3 different times, and 3 different people stopped me and said, "Are you Bishop Brown?" I did not know these people. And I said, "Yes." I said, "We watch you on Beyond the Gatekeepers." So I know random people that I don't even know are watching this show. I need you all to continue to support Beyond the Gatekeepers. And it was 3 Black men that I never seen before in my life, but they recognized me. And I want you all to continue to support this. I appreciate it. We are getting ready and gearing up for our conference, our leadership conference, Ubuntu, Resist, Repair, Regenerate. It is in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Sonesta Hotel is sold out. If you go to www.tfamconference.org, it's going to give information about overflow hotels. I know the Doubletree is one. We want you, if you're going to come, make sure that you book. We're going to do day passes. All of that stuff is going to be there. Shows you tell you how to register. All of this early bird pricing and general admission is over with. There's other pricing that you will have to look at to see. But we have some great people coming in. Reverend Dr. Raquel Gill, Reverend Dr. Melva Sampson, Reverend Dr. Heber Brown, Ashley Henderson Woodard, Reverend Naomi Lepar. We got some great things happening. We got some great workshop leaders, Dr. Danny Bahuro, Reverend Erica Geralds. I can go on and on and on about the workshops that are going to be there for us as well. Register. Go to www.tfamconference.org for more information. Also, the children are coming. I am because we are. We are because God is. Sankofa Children's Faith Initiative is calling on children from the Northeast, Southeast, and South Regional Summit to come out and be with us in Charlotte. They are taking a trip to Franklinton, Bricks, in North Carolina. So they're going to do like a day trip or whatever. And so we want you to register your kids. It's free up until, I believe, 12 years old. You have to be 12 and under, something like that. All right, here we go. Somebody is putting down hashtag Beyond the Gatekeepers. Dr. Lomax will not be with us. I saw you put that someplace else. Will not be able to be with us, okay? Hashtag Beyond the Gatekeepers. Hashtag Beyond the Gatekeepers. Hashtag Beyond the Gatekeepers. All right, y'all got it? Let's go, Pastor. Stir it up. Albert Reed, congratulations. Albert Reed is a musician as well. I know he plays the organ and the piano. Oh, yes. Congratulations, Albert. You know what to do. Okay. Dr. Jamie Edie is a strong supporter of books, Dr. Pinn, and also a strong supporter of you. She's doing a lot of work around grief. She's a thanatologist. I hope I said that right, Dr. Edie. Anyway, she says, let's give away a second book. So we're going to do one more time, Pastor Sue.
We can
Somebody
do that.
else, one more time. We're going to give away one more book, Pastor Sue. Yes, I see you all. Thank you all. Somebody said they sending love to you, Dr. Pinn. They remember you from Brooklyn when they was a little girl. Tresha Baldwin Holder.
Hey. Sorry about that. Let me.
That's okay. We got
it went away, so I just need. To
oh, you got to get it back. Okay, we're gonna give away one more book. She gonna get it back. Make sure you put it. You got another chance to win, and Dr. Jamie Edie is gonna donate this book, so you don't have to sit at Dr. Pinn. You just have to send that one book.
Okay.
All right. All right, you got it. Hashtag Beyond the Gatekeepers. Let's go. Who's that winner? Who's that winner? Pastor Tanya D. Jackson. Go on, girl. That's my partner. Congratulations to you. Yay. All right. We are excited about the two winners tonight. Grateful for you, Dr. Pinn. If you have one last thing that you want to say to the people tonight around music, religion, what would it be?
Let the music encourage you to ask really good questions that demand even better answers, that generate even better questions. Keep thinking.
Keep thinking. I love you so much, Dr. Pinn.
Love you too.
Your great mind. I want y'all to purchase the book. It's going to give you something to think about. We'll see you soon. God bless you and have a wonderful evening.